Greetings and salutations, Smoke Circle, and welcome to High Tales of History, the podcast where two sisters get high and take you on a hazy trip through history. I don't know why I feel the need to do the arms, the psychedelic arms with it every time now. It's hazy. I got to be the haze. I'm the smoke. On this show, we are talking about the weird history, the wild history, the amazing people and events that were pushed in the margins or that just never quite made it to your textbook. And I am Laurel, your older sister.
And I'm Katie, the younger sister.
Yes, older, younger guest. Today, we are joined by one of our longtime friends in the Smoke Circle, Derek, one half of High... Nope.
Wrong one.
One half of High. Yes, she is. One half of History's Greatest Idiots. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm not a sister.
So, History's Greatest Idiots, he co-hosts with the wonderful Lev. You guys have actually been going about as long as we have, roughly, right? You just had an anniversary recently in April.
Yes, yeah,
Surprise!
You told me you were going to ask this, and I should look it up.
Happy birthday to... Yeah, well, if this is any help, June 2021 was when we started, so it'll be our 4 years in this year.
So that would mean we started on April Fool's Day 2021 with our first 3 episodes that came out. And then we went to like every other week, where I think you guys were doing every week when you started.
Yeah. Woof.
Did you see the repressed trauma on both of our faces? We're like, yeah, let's not talk about that. Those are the dark ages.
How we managed to get a story out every week was beyond me. I don't know. I look back at that and go, it's so hard just to do every other week. And then we had to start building in breaks so that way we could breathe for a little bit and get caught up and try and get ahead on some of this stuff. And as well as just have a little break. But yeah, I mean, which that's where we're at now. We're on our season finale for season 5, actually.
So you're on this, we're on the same season. See, season 5.
Yeah. Nice.
We went back and forth, and I don't know if podcasts do seasons or not, but
they do now.
It seemed like a thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys have a really similar vibe to what Katie and I have going on over here on High Tales. So could you describe what our show is like for our listeners? Because it's awesome.
Describe what your show is like?
Well,
it's
you
awesome.
could,
yeah,
but
you
it's
guys sit around and tell awesome stories while you engage in vibing in beverages or, good stuff. And see, on our show, we talk about idiots throughout history and maybe why or how they could have done things different. And I'm the only one that's partaking, but nobody knows.
Your secret is so safe here on the internet.
Absolutely.
No one is going to say anything.
No one's going to know. They're going to know.
It's just in the Smoke Circle here, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
Do you know how many secrets we've kept in the Smoke Circle? So many
secrets, which we then pass out to you in the Smoke Circle. It's
we keep their
round and round.
Too.
Those secrets go. We keep everyone's secrets. Welcome into our secret circle. Where am I going with this? Yeah, it's very similar. And then you guys rate him at the very end as well too. They get a little rating out of 100.
Oh my god! I can't wait for you to rate my story.
See, but so that's excited. The thing is our ratings is we both used to do stories, and then I realized that Lev was really smart, and so he should just be kind of giving the stories, and I should be cracking jokes because I'm actually, the idiot on the show, sort of. Yeah.
And I suppose the word idiot, however one wants to interpret that when we're looking back at history, can be open to a lot of interpretation. It could be someone that's has done really something really stupid, or it's hubris or ego, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
that's where the ratings are the best, because they mean absolutely nothing, and I make it up on the spot just based on vibes and whatever I feel at the moment. So some people get really high. Early on, the ratings kind of were more for the bad stuff that they did. Yeah. And as it evolved, I was just I feel bad about rating people along with some of these terrible, horrible people like Thomas Midgley Jr. that built the planet.
Yeah, the planet killer.
So now I just throw numbers out there based on like, grades or how dumb I think what they did was, or redemption arc ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. Has there been somebody that you love to hate on the most, either that you've talked about yet or plan to?
We did. Logan Paul was fun.
Yes.
That was a fun one, yeah. Uh-huh.
I think we might revisit that though, because now I don't know if he's cool or not, because I still don't know which one he is.
I mean, if you want my personal opinion, as a
Throw it
watcher
out
of
there.
WWE every week, so he's on, unfortunately, Raw. I thought we got his ass over to SmackDown.
Yeah.
But no, we're stuck with him on Raw. Of the two brothers, I think he's the more wily one. I
Okay.
think he is very calculated with what he does. And especially, I think he's a calculated asshole. You know what I mean? Like, he does it on purpose. I think he capitalizes on that amazingly, and he's super good at it, and I hate him for it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, he's really good at it, and I'm like, oh, you bastard. Why didn't I think of that?
Almost end up a little bit, jealous of how good he is at being bad at being good.
So for our episode today, we are going to take a little trip to history's past. We're going to find some idiots out there, and there are aplenty of them back in the past. Idiots, we'll keep the term kind of broad. We'll get kind of creative with it. It could be someone who actually did something big, had a big old dumb stupid mistake and whoopsie daisy, or maybe it's ego or hubris, or hey, maybe that was just a bad choice at the time kind of thing. So these are some of our favorite little idiots that we want to talk about for our final episode of the season. But first, before we do so, what's everybody relaxing with tonight, imbibing in? This is a smoky smoke circle, folks. Let me tell you, a lot of times that doesn't always happen. It's hazy in here. Derek, we'll start with you.
I've been puffing on this little vape called Larry OG, and you wouldn't quite expect it to taste like it, but it tastes like an antique store.
Thought you were gonna say pineapple, and I was like, yes, mine tastes like pineapple too.
That's what I was hoping for, but antique store works. It's okay.
Damn.
It's no pineapple, but antique store ranks up there in the top 5 of favorite flavors of weed. I do know what you're talking about. There is kind of like that weird, it's like a musty kind of, you're like, this tastes like haunted doll and, old books. Like
That's what Kim Dracula smelled like when I hugged them the first time. I was like, whoa, they smell like a haunted house.
Hot, sexy, like it. Well, good for old Larry OG. Is it? How's he working? How's old Larry working over there for you? Is it working all right?
Smooth and mellow. It's a smooth and mellow hybrid.
Okay.
And unless you
Antique
can't hear that knocking.
I can also hear that knocking.
Okay. That's, I don't know.
What is that?
They're either working on the roof or somebody is hanging things on the cement ceiling.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a ghost, dude. I was.
Yeah, I was like, Laurel just went straight to the supernatural.
You looked like you didn't know what could be happening there, and I was like, those are very like Victorian seance sort of knocks there. Pop, pop, pop. How about you, Katie?
I'm not smooth and mellow. It appears I have the Pineapple Express among us. And it says all hurry and no worry. So I have a feeling it's gonna get the job done. You know what I'm saying?
Choo choo. I'm also all aboard the Pineapple Express too. So I have a little nug left that I was rolling into my joint, and then I filled in the rest of it with a strain called Deleted Scene from Grassroots. I think it's Grassroots. It's just a Illinois dispensary. Grower. We're going to go on some historical travels, everybody.
Oh, are we ever?
Choo choo! All aboard this express train into history. We're going to be talking about some idiots in history. And first, we're going to have Derek kick it off, and then I will, and then Katie's going to wrap it all up with a lot of fun. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're going to kick it off
I'm
Like,
excited
Derek
for
first.
Derek's. If it's anything like the spoiler that he texted us, I was like, wait, what? I have to hear it.
You guys haven't happen to have done a story about a ... recently. I was like, oh, no, but please tell us everything about it.
The story I'm bringing you today is a prime example of how a little miscommunication can go a long way, especially when you're dealing with like a big ass reptile. It's also a reminder that tortoises are way cooler than they get credit for.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to tell you a story about Clarence, a giant Galapagos tortoise with a taste for leisurely strolls, and as it turns out, a little bit of escape artistry in his back pocket. Do tortoises have pockets?
I mean,
Back
figurative
shell.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to think that when like the little like panels on his shell opens up and he can just stick his wallet in there. That's what I'm going to
Right?
imagine.
And just put stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
like
I was
little blue
thinking,
jeans.
Well, Clarence's journey began back in 1923 on Isabella Island when Dr. Charles Townsend from the New York aquariums rounded him and like 100 other tortoises up from the Galapagos Islands to study him. And so, even though he's witnessed over a century of human stupidity, the highlight or low light of it came in 2001. At the time, he was living at the Los Angeles Zoo, but he wasn't vibing with the other tortoises. They were like bullying him.
Oh, Clarence.
Yeah,
Poor
I didn't
angel.
know that was a thing though. Like the Real Housewives of Tortoise Zoo Land.
Yeah. They
Throwing
can be
tables and stuff. They used to
territorial.
flip them over. Did you know that?
Yeah.
The other tortoises flip each other over.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? They flip each other. Tortoises are assholes. Come on, tortoises.
Yeah, I didn't know they had outcasts and things like that, but apparently he was one, and they knew that it wouldn't be a good existence for him there at the Los Angeles Zoo with him being
Clarence.
pushed around and all. So they decided they were going to send him on a sabbatical of sorts to the Exotic Animal Training Management Program.
Oh.
And that's at the Moore Park College, which is a community college. And I had no idea that a public community college offered exotic management animal training programs.
Oh, that's the
This one
college I
does.
need to go to.
It's super
sounds
cool,
rad.
right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So he went there, or he was going to go there, and the LA Zoo gave some info to the reps about him to help him or help them build his enclosure so he could have a nice space when he gets there and stay safe. That included details like his weight. And when they gave him that, they said, he's about 250. Just 250, that's all they told him. And they assumed that the people at the LA Zoo meant pounds, and they meant kilograms. So the math didn't math.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, those tortoises, there's no way he's only 250 pounds. That's nothing.
Right, yeah, this is 2001. He's born in 1923. He's almost, over half a century old by that point. He's a pretty big fella. It's like 551 pounds is what it is.
It's like a moving
That's nowhere
boulder.
close.
So yeah, they instead of building the enclosure for like a boulder with legs, they built one that's more suitable for like a chunky mastiff. And on Clarence's very first night there, he decided he was homesick or just didn't want to be there. He was feeling his power. He walked up and just pushed a fence post over and left. Like it was nothing. He just went out on a stroll. The next morning, they found him casually strolling through the aviary lawn, just doing his thing.
It's a whole different meaning to the killdozer.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Clarence Dozer.
Clarence Dozer.
Dude, that's a way more fun dozer.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, they said, yeah, our bad, reinforced in his thing with some wrought iron bars, set it in concrete, set it up a real proper tortoise fortress. That's hard to say.
Tortoise. I'll workshop that one.
Torturous.
Anyway.
Torturous. So he's been chilling there ever since. He's adapted to the college life pretty well. And over the years, his place got upgraded. His barn was upgraded with heated floors and temperature controls and skylights. They even made it like big enough for two in case they wanted to procreate with somebody that wasn't flipping him over.
Hey.
Honestly, I think we need more of Clarence in the world. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
They do too, and they're trying to breed more still there at Moore Park. They've added a few to the enclosure or the exhibits. He's now over 600 pounds. And
Jeez.
since his time there in 2001, he's kind of become a beloved public figure, participating in educational programs. And now generations of Moore Park's exotic animal training students have learned how to care for tortoises and how to feed them and walk them and maintain their massive digs and how to build them for the proper weight. And in 2023, he turned 100 years old, and they threw him a big birthday party with watermelon cake and party hats for the other tortoises that were there hanging out.
I think I YouTube
Get
live
out of
that.
here.
I think I went on the YouTube live for that. I'm like 99% sure.
Like the coolest thing ever, right?
That's precious.
So now Clarence is 100 years old. He puts himself to bed at 3 o'clock, and you go see him if you are ever out in Moore Park, California.
Oh, Clarence,
Visiting.
you sweet little old man, you. He's like, I'm going to put myself to bed at 3 o'clock. I like how he's like, fuck this place, and just knocks the wall down. It's like, I'm out of here. He just goes for a little stroll.
For real. And I
Can't
think the
stop,
real
won't stop.
idiots are the people that just left out the kilograms. In
Yeah.
the communications there.
I agree.
Yeah.
We need to be clearer.
I mean, I think goodness it all worked out, you know, so a minor idiocy moment, but there's a big difference there with kilograms to pounds. It's like double the tortoise.
Yeah, I was going to say like times 2 of the difference.
So something I would do.
Oh yeah, by the way, kilograms. Oh, I love that. Clarence, little cute old man, you. All right, so for my historical travels today, choo-choo, next stop on the train, on the Pineapple Express train, I'm going to be bringing you a story that's as dark as it is absurd. So for that, we're going to go to Rome. The year is 897 CE, and the Pope has just put a dead man on trial. And that's not like a metaphor like dead man walking over here kind of thing. It's like literally the man is dead.
Oh, no.
It is a corpse. It is a dug up, 9 months been in the grave, dug up, dressed up, and tried in a full-blown ecclesiastical court. This is Pope Stephen VI and the Cadaver Synod. Of course, kids, to understand how we got here, we gotta look at the political landscape that's going on. So hang up the historical tapestry. First person that we're going to see on there is Formosus, who was a pope. And like many popes of the late 9th century, his resume read a little bit like a bishop's job description, which makes sense, mixed with like a mob boss's rap sheet. It's like mass in the morning, murder in the evening. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Got a lot of things to do, all ranging in its morality there. So yeah, popes weren't quite as holy then in their deeds. And so to understand Formosus and this Cadaver Synod that's about to take place, we're going to look at the church in this time period and all of its like politics, drama, scandal, more politics. In 872 through 965 CE, no fewer than 24 popes were recorded in Rome in that time. 7 of them, nearly 1/3 of them, died violently or under suspicious circumstances. Cue the shock and the horror. What's going on?
Like popes got murdered?
Yes. They got murdered. They did the murdering. It is wild. Between 896 and 904, there was roughly 1 pope appointed per year when it averaged out. They were either deposed, thrown in prison, murdered, or all of the above. A lot of times all of the above, actually. And the murder itself...
make a like Pope version of Game of Thrones, because that's what you just described to me.
Girl, that's what it was. That is what it was, okay? So your murder could have ranged anywhere from getting poisoned by the people around you, and then when that poison didn't work fast enough, they would just beat your skull in like one pope. Strangled, suffocated with a pillow, to, quote, eyes, nose, lips, tongue, and hands removed, and then dying of your injuries.
That's terrible.
Popes killing other popes. What's going on? It wasn't great to be a pope during that time. That's the fucking backdrop, folks. Like that's what's going on. It is Game of Thrones. And this is my this is my big Linda Richmond moment, from Coffee Talk and Saturday Night Live, which might be a little bit of like an old reference, but she's like, the Holy Roman Empire is neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, Talk amongst yourselves. That's all right. That's where I get to do that. So there's so much going on. I'm going to try and simplify this a little bit, but Katie, awesome that you're like, what? Derek's like, hang on, popes were killing popes? Yeah. The Catholic Church wasn't like the preeminent Christian power after the collapse of the Roman Empire. It had to like get there, right? So
it's not the network that it is.
It's not the network that it is, right? In the Dark Ages, bishops in the local areas were considered the first amongst equals. There's still there wasn't that big separation, like the church is like this all-powerful thing. When we get to the middle and then the high Middle Ages, the papal states are formed, which make up much of what is now Italy today, is the Italian peninsula. And this is when you see like the powerful, is the later centuries, like we see the powerful families like the Borgias, for example, some of whom become popes themselves, power struggles between different families. So in the 9th century, where our story is taking place, the church just doesn't hold like this default position over Christians just because it's the church. It was trying to bring power to itself during this time. So it's kind of gathered in and scrape it up and, consolidate that. But it's still rather significant in comparison to the later centuries, which is why during all these centuries, we do have like the Game of Thrones church backdrop.
Is this when they started the really cool hats?
Yeah, they've got hats. They've got hats, Derek. They've got robes. We've got.
How long have those hats existed in the popes?
Yeah, thing? I don't know how long the hat itself has existed, but I do know in the Cadaver Synod they put. Well, I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but he wore the hat. The dead man wore the hat. So
okay,
yeah, so they existed then at that point.
I wonder if they got taller as it went on.
Right? What was the starting height?
It was just like a
Katie,
4-inch
get on
tall
that.
hat.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. How could you tell? It dates back to the 10th century. It was initially a simple soft cap with an ornamental band, and over time it has evolved, developing into the distinct horn shape we recognize today. From the 8th century.
Yeah, maybe
from
this
the 8th
guy started
century.
the hat.
Yeah, 8th century to the mid 20th century, but it's used.
You said 8th.
Since then.
You said 8th. So is the 9th included in there? Okay, so the 9th is included in there.
So this guy had a hat.
Yeah, total Game of Thrones, and the papacy during that time, this being like the 9th century, and as it follows, it played as like a real central role between like warring factions, basically like rivaling gangs. They would openly intervene in different family feuds of Rome's powerful families, and all that murder and corruption
is the original Sopranos.
Yes, guys, really, this is what this is. This is like street gangs, all like fighting against each other, and then the church is the one that's in there openly intervening and kind of playing everybody.
It's the mediator.
Yeah, it's in there stirring things up, putting things together, making deals, wheeling and dealing, babe. You know what I mean? Getting in there and trying to get that influence and power. The two factions in this specific instance here were the Carolingian emperors, who emerged as the protectors of the Catholic Church, and they were like lords of Italy. So there's one group there, and then over here is the Dukes of Spoleto, who are rising in power and trying to challenge the supremacy of the Carolingian. I hope I'm saying that right. Carolingian.
These are
probably Lingian.
These are family names?
Yes.
Those are the coolest family names ever.
Yeah. I hope I got that right. It'll be down. If I correct myself, folks, you can always just look on your screen and you're going to see Laurel correcting herself down there at the bottom. She'll hear something later and go, nope, that's not right. So yes.
That's not Italian.
That's not Italian. Yes. Carolingian, I'm going to go with. So it's not until, here we go. It's not until the end of the 11th century. So it's like 1095 to be more specific. So the Crusades, essentially, the start of those, when the Pope is able to have enough authority to then like command other leaders. So that's This is all that's what's been going on. 9th century, where our story takes place, and then all the centuries around it and following that for a couple centuries. Shit, that's only 2 centuries. All the centuries, all the 2 centuries, Laurel, all the 2, just 2. So back to Formosus. But then more power plays are going to happen after that, because that's when the Pope then becomes like more powerful, you know. All right, back to Formosus.
Its name sounds like a drink.
Formosus, doesn't it? It looks like a cleaning agent. Like when you look at it with your eyeballs, Formosus, it looks like it's a brand of cleaning product. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it should be a brunch drink.
Yeah.
I had that same
We're just
thought.
going out for Formosas. What is the spirit in that? A Formosus.
It's
Mimosas.
that bitter
Formaldehyde?
one. What's that bitter formaldehyde?
Malort. Malort
It's,
orange juice.
hey, whoa now, don't be hating on the Malort, man. That's a Chicago classic. Tastes like grapefruit peels and gasoline.
And gasoline. Yep. Dandelions and gasoline is the one I say. But grapefruit peels, I like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a bite.
Yeah.
It's astringent in its quality, I would say.
So Formosus, before he became a pope, he had been the Bishop of Porto and a papal diplomat. But he had enemies, and they're not just like, there's some minor enemies, just a few people. Like has had entanglements with the Holy Roman Emperor, various factions of this Roman aristocracy, all these different powerful families, and then just rival popes, all these other rival popes who just love to hold a grudge. Because again, all these popes are all like fighting with each other, right? Until there's like, you know, the popest of popes. Like it's down to like 2. Then we need a popier pope, and that's the one who's like crusades, y'all. And then everyone's like, yeah, let's follow that guy. Let's go.
Was Highlander rules until that point?
There can be only one, you know, just at that point. Yes. So he gets excommunicated for a short time. It doesn't really stick. It gets reversed. And then he becomes the new pope in 891. When he died 5 years later in 896, he, again, like I said, he had some powerful enemies, including one of his almost immediate successors. I say almost immediate because the one that was directly after Formosus only was pope for 15 days and then died. So
that's short.
That wasn't long. Then you get Pope Stephen VI. Our guy Stephen here, he's a real piece of work. And he didn't really like Formosus. Oh, I should say he really didn't like Formosus, and he hated him with the sort of like intensity that
I hate crickets with.
Yeah, you know, heretics and treason and that sort of stuff, like a real enemy of the people sort of thing. And that's just, you know, because all these damn politics that are going on during that time. So Formosus, he is Team Carolingian. We really want to get that hard G. And he had supported Arnulf of Carinthia as the Holy Roman Emperor. Stephen VI over here, he was Team Spoleto. Once it like behooved him to be Team Spoleto, and Formosus was like excommunicated and kicked out, he's like, I'm going to go with this guy over here, that guy's enemy. And Stephen supported Lambert of Spoleto. So he's like, he should be Holy Roman Emperor. So when Arnulf fell ill and Lambert's faction rose up to power, Stephen suddenly finds himself as Pope in a Rome that's still, in like a few ways, loyal to Formosus's memory. There's enough people that are there that are like, hey, but Formosus. And he's like, no, I'm not about that. That guy is my enemiest of enemies. And so in one of the most like kind of gruesome and really petty act of political revenge, Pope Stephen says, right, get Formosus out here. We want his corpse exhumed, and he is going on trial. So people go get some shovels.
He's just mad because his name's Stephen and the other guy's name is Formosa. Like, that's why he's pissed. It's truly just an ego battle.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
He's just mad because it's like, Stephen. He's just
Formosus. Formosus.
Right? Formosus is the best. Formosus is the handsomest. We should all just stab Formosus.
I don't like him. And it's a great, big, petty act because he's like, right, let's go down to St. Peter's Basilica. He's already been dead 9 months, folks. decaying, all these things. Yep, dig up his tomb, bring him out here. He's going on trial. They put him in papal robes. They put the hat on him, mitre, I think it is. And they sat him on a throne at the Lateran Basilica. And then they tried him. He had a whole ass trial, folks.
Huh.
The Cadaver Synod. So Stephen VI, he presided. He was like basically judge, jury, executioner, essentially. And Formosus didn't really have a whole lot to say, being
Imagine
dead,
that.
right? So it's not like he can really stand up for himself. Although, like, to complete the whole picture here, mockery even, a deacon was assigned to answer questions on the dead pope's behalf.
Did he
Which,
do the
like,
Weekends at Bernie style?
I know. I almost called this Weekend at Formosus when I was like, I was like, don't do that. Don't do that, Laurel. Yeah, like they had like people apparently. Well, there's no like actual, there's no like transcript of what's happened here. So these are the stories that have come out of this. But like it's been said that there are people like holding the body up, you know, like trying to like hold them up, and then if they let him go, it would like fall over on the floor. But you know, it's so gross. But they like try to hold this guy and
Punished
answer
for that terrible job.
questions. Ew, gross, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how you managed to go through that, because I'm sure in the moment, not only do you not want to be like physically doing what you're doing, but the whole like grossness of it all, of like being like, oh, this guy's just put this guy on trial and he's dead and this does not smell good, this does not feel good, and I'm really grossed out, you know, like
Who elected
everything.
Stephen?
Fucking hell, Stephen.
Lambert. By the way, where did that name come from? Somebody was picking names out of random.
What the hell?
Stephen
I
and
didn't know
Lambert.
they had Stevens in the 800s. I thought that was like at least like an 1800s thing.
Yeah, Stephen, Stephen, that kind of Stephen.
It's even more pretentious.
Suddenly everyone that's named Stephen with the PH is like, I don't want to listen to this show anymore. Fuck this show.
It's not my fault you were named Stephen with the PH.
No, it's not mine either.
Take it up with your mother.
So poor Formosus, all dead and on trial and being held up by a couple of other people here. Formosus was charged with, get this, 1, perjury. What? How? Who says? What? Anyway, back to what again? 2, violating canon law by becoming Bishop of Rome while still Bishop of Porto. 3, aspiring to the papacy inappropriately. There it is. So
is that like a thought crime?
Right. and he was, you know, he was found guilty and everything as well too, but he's charged with these things. And the whole like once a bishop, always a bishop rule meant that he technically, I'm trying to get this right, he technically broke the like canon law because he switched C's, SEES. But that's been something that people had done for decades before that. So they're like, you can't be a bishop of this area and then a bishop of
like
this area.
You switched like diocese?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like being married to more than one church at the same time?
Yeah, kind of sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. But this wasn't about law anyway. So it's just like, it's basically just the mudslinging of, I hate this guy. Even though he's dead, that still doesn't give me peace. I hate this guy so much, I'm going to have him dug up and sling some mud here because this guy can't defend himself. And also, yeah, he's dead. And even though he's dead, he was found guilty. And the results of all of that, then, his papacy was nullified. His acts and ordinances were voided. The 3, like, I think they call them the benediction fingers, but basically the 3 fingers that a person of the church would like use to give a blessing. I'm assuming it's I think it's your thumb, index, and your middle finger. Do, right? Those were cut off.
Okay.
Yep. His papal vestments were ripped off, so I was close. And his corpse was then dumped into the Tiber River, which like centuries ago in like the Roman Empire, this was like a long-standing tradition of like against political enemies would to like dump their body
the most
in the
mob
river,
shit I've
carry it
ever
away.
heard in my life.
We want to literally forget you and have you like not seen, not ever thought about. So like if you were like a real enemy of Rome, body could be dumped in the river and it'd be
in
like,
the river with you.
Yeah, so they did that to this guy, and then the legend has it that a fisherman found the body months later, but I mean, yuck. So, yeah, you can imagine this didn't go over well. even in an era where assassinations and corruption and the buying, the selling of the church offices, simony as it's called, these are all like job standard for the papacy. Like this was all part of it. Even this was just a bit too far. Public's like, absolutely the heck not. The clergy are like, absolutely the heck not. This is disgusting. And so political support for Stephen just fell apart. So just months after the trial, Stephen VI was deposed, imprisoned, and strangled in his cell. Oh, look, he got the trifecta of things that could happen to you during your papacy. There you go, deposed, imprisoned, murdered. And then what followed was chaos because the popes after him, let's see, Theodore II held a synod that was like, oh wait, we got to annul everything about the Cadaver Synod because that was gross, and we got to like find Formosus and bury him with honors. So like we got to reverse this whole thing. And then Pope after that, Pope John IX reaffirmed the annulment and banned trials of the dead, a surprisingly necessary papal
Thank
policy,
goodness.
you know? So like,
let's
not ever do that again.
I forgot what annulled meant. I thought it went back and forth for how long? I got nervous.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say that? I think I said that weird, didn't I?
No, you said it right.
Did I say? Okay, I was going to say.
G's just making me forget words.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So like, yeah, Theodore II and then Pope John IX were like, yeah, this is a bad idea. And then, so they annulled the verdict of it. Pope John IX is like, yes, true. And also let's make sure there's no more trials of dead people because that's fucked. And then Pope Sergius III, who was a former ally of Stephen VI, he would reverse course again, and he reaffirmed Formosus's guilt.
Oh my goodness.
That's the rivalry. This poor man does not like live in peace or like die in peace, Formosus. I mean, he was a piece of work as it was, but then like his legacy, if you will, it just keeps getting pulled back and forth. So, the rivalries ran deep, guys. I'd said Game of Thrones here. It's not just like this like bizarre thing in papal history, although it definitely is that, but it spoke to the greater like instability and the ruthlessness in the politics at this time when popes are like rising and falling. Everyone's trying to like power grab and consolidate and merge. And this is, anyway, the church, just like any institution of power, is not immune to its own human folly and ego and pettiness. But they put a corpse on trial. They dressed it up, cut off his fingers. It was a whole next level of holy shit. So political vengeance taken to extremes. And it's the church having a zombie pope trial.
Awesome.
So
sounds like something off of the next Cannibal Corpse album.
Cadaver Synod's our next album. Well, history is full of all kinds of idiotic moments, but you know what isn't an idiotic moment? You being here, you choosing the Smoke Circle to hang out with us and get a little history in your life. We are so glad that you're here. And if you are enjoying what's been going on in this episode so far, please make sure that you are subscribed and following this show on whatever platform you're listening on. Rating, reviewing, following, leaving a comment, all these things are wonderful to help our little show grow and move up into the charts and get seen and heard by more beautiful history lovers like yourself. Now, this is the season finale for season 5. We'll be back again on July 11th, but in the meantime, please give us a follow on our social media accounts. We are on Instagram at High Tales of History and on TikTok at High Tales of History Pod. And if you really want to be getting some extra content, not only in the season break, but throughout the year, we are on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/High Tales of History. We call it the Best Buds Club. Over there, we have half-baked episodes. Those are our mini episodes
We have historical movie nights on the big brown couch, which we watch a movie together. Historical cooking videos, extra content with our wonderful guests that we have in the seasons, just all kinds of stuff. That's our big hangout spot. So you can find us again on patreon.com/High Tales of History. All of our social media and Patreon accounts are in the show notes below, so you can just follow the link down there. All right, we've got one more idiot story for you this evening, and Katie's is a real doozy. So with that, let's puff pass it on to part 2.
And my second half of my edible just kicked in, and I was like, whoa.
Hooray!
Holy shit right now.
Buckle up, folks.
I'm so glad we're ending with mine because, whoa, it's definitely a lot better of a leave off than
right.
Zombie
This is why I went in
Pope
the middle.
Trial. Yeah, probably a great choice. I was like, that was actually planned out really well.
Yeah, I was like, what's the general vibes of both of yours? Not mine? Great, excellent. I'll go in the middle.
Fantastic.
I'll let you guys bookend the dark. There we go.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Right. Okay. Do you ever have those moments in life when the wrong people are left in charge and you have to listen to them even though they're an idiot and you know it's going to go terribly wrong?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today's story is the poster child of that scenario. Okay. So back in 1783, there was a meeting between the newly recognized American colonies and Great Britain. So if anyone was curious, this whole Canada is like a 51st state thing, although I think technically at this point it'd be a 14th, but you get the idea. It's been going on since like 1783, by the way. It's not new. I did not know that until I went this, and I was like, reading through this, I was like, wow, this all sounds really familiar. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, poor Canada. Okay.
Just learned something today, too.
They weren't Canada yet, though. They were...
Oh, okay. Pre-Canada.
Yeah, hold on. I wrote down what they were called here.
Big frozen place up north.
Yeah, they were like the British... the Great Britain colonies of North America or something like that. They were under British control at this point. So they're not Canada. Not yet. Okay, so the Treaty of Paris, basically, what happens there? The 13 original colonies, located along the East Coast, they gained all of the land up until the Mississippi River, so like the Midwest, basically, and not Florida. The little bloop around Florida and the panhandle of it, they did not get that. So it has expanded to the Mississippi River and stops at Florida. That's what the new America looks like right now. But good old Benny Franks, he's lustfully looking at what we will call Canada's curvaceous northern lands. And basically, Britain tells him to keep his grubby little Yankee paws off of it. And they enter a war, because why not at this point in life? It's the War of 1812, which is about borders.
Oh, that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There it is.
So yes, the War of 1812 is going on, but go back a little bit. In 1803, America, they gained the Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon, and basically, after everything's all said and done, now we really have border disputes to work out, because now we're going further west along the border. Because remember, pretty much all of what's Canada is held by Britain right now. So they're like, no, that's not your tree, that's our tree. And they're like, well, how do you know that that's your tree? Where exactly does the treaty say that the line is drawn? So, they got together in a little room, and they looked at each other, and they were like, what do you think? And they're like, I don't know, man. This is... and originally the map they used to chart out that Mississippi line, it was an incorrect map, so they fucked up the line from the Lake of the Leafs. It's like a big oval lake that's not actually oval, and it all got jacked up on Mountain Dew, like Diet Mountain Dew as well. So it was... not right. So they had to throw that map out, and the cartographer, hopefully, because he did a shit job.
Just throw him out too.
He has no idea what was going on. So they all meet. They're all looking studiously over those Benjamin Franklin glasses, as they do. And they said, straight line? Straight line. So agreeing on a straight line called the 49th parallel, everything was figured out. Until we get to Oregon territory.
Oh.
So, basically, the land on the other side of the Rockies was claimed by both Britain and America. Imagine that. Part of the problem is this thing that we call manifest destiny, where I'm going to be as unbiased as I can here,
Oh, okay.
but
Sorry.
we both know that I'm not going to be successful. So I'll just say I'm sorry now. So basically, all the European Puritans felt that it was their Christian God-given right to multiply and spread across the continent, like rats or the plague or disease. Anyway, so off everyone goes.
Like bacteria.
Yes. So off everyone goes with manifest destiny, which is definitely not a justification for an insanely ruthless collective imperialism. So they all go off to the Oregon Territory, and which was claimed by America as manifest destiny. Meanwhile, in British North America, the largest colony there, I think it's like 2 of the Canadian provinces. It's not the furthest west one. It's the 2 in the middle. That's where this territory is right now. And it's held by the Hudson Bay Company.
Oh, yeah.
They own it.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
So their main source of wealth was beaver pelts off the animal. And right around the Oregon Territory is the Columbia River. So instead of just taking the territory of the river, if you looked at this, so it kind of goes into Canada, this Oregon Territory. It's like where that 49th parallel would just cut it right in half, basically. So what they're arguing over right now is a big rectangle that, if you looked at today's borders, would go across both, just to give you an idea. So the Columbia River goes like right through it. That was the sound of the river going to the ocean?
Yep. I guess
very
you wondered
rubbery.
that.
Yeah. So instead of splitting the territory by the river, so both parties could access the river, make it reasonable, fair compromise where everybody wins, everybody loses on both sides. Instead of doing anything logical like that, they decided to share the territory, which will not result in any problems at all.
I'm sure it won't.
Yeah,
That's
everybody
where
always
our
gets
tale-
along.
Yeah. Especially the Americans and the colonial British.
Mhm.
Especially, I've heard
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, I've heard they were like best friends. So it's in this mosh pit of fuckery that we find ourselves where our tale begins. So, christened the Pig War, is perhaps one of the most obscure and insane wars fought in history. It's certainly not the worst by any means, but it is up there in terms of sheer stupidity. So eventually, the Americans got their straight line that they wanted through sheer numbers. They just kept showing up. You ever heard of a game
And
called
standing in line.
Yeah. I might not recover from that one. Anyway, have you ever played the game? You if I say one word, you're all gonna know what I'm talking about. Dysentery.
The Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail. So people just kept showing up, man, in Oregon. They're populating. They're just everywhere, and the British are being pushed out.
Oh, man.
Yes. So basically, through sheer numbers on the American side and the British unwillingness to go to war, because they actually had pretty good trade agreements between both of them, and both economies were thriving because of that. So it'd be kind of stupid to go to war with each other again. It just would actually, I mean, we've done worse. I'm just going to move on. So they're not going to war. Everything is settled, or so we thought. If you look at present day Seattle, Washington, okay? Seattle. If you look west and slightly north, you're going to see a cluster of islands in a channel. It's like a sea channel. It's east of the city of Victoria, present-day Victoria.
Okay, map.
So it's right in there.
Envisioning it here.
It's a whole cluster of islands. It does not include Vancouver Island. Vancouver is like the outside. And we're
Okay.
talking about like San Juan.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with the treaty about as clear as mud, there's a treaty about this because everybody just keeps arguing over borders. Imagine that. They're talking about, well, which channel is the border? Is it the channel on the outside of the islands? Or is it the one on the inside? Because if it's on the inside, they're British islands. If it's on the outside, they're American islands. So.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
There is one man who is completely unwilling to allow the dastardly Yanks to take all the land.
Oh no, those ruffians.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
James Douglas, he is the Hudson Bay's chief factor when they were down in like the Oregon Territory, and now he's the governor of Vancouver Island. He reasoned that if the British settle San Juan first, San Juan is the biggest island in that cluster, apparently has fabulous farming land. If they get there and settle it first, then they can take over through sheer numbers, just like the Americans did in the Oregon Territory. So he sent an Irishman. He sent an Irishman named Charles Griffin with a bunch of Hawaiian shepherds. Don't ask me how they got there. I didn't go that far into the research, but they're there.
That sounds like a good time.
Oh, yeah. So
That's
they
awesome.
sent an Irishman with a bunch of Hawaiian shepherds and a shit ton of sheep to claim the land for Britain.
Excellent. Good.
Among all the fuzzy little friends, there were a number of prized pigs called the Berkshire pig. So the Hudson Bay Company on San Juan Island had set up a salmon curing station and a sheep ranch on the island, right? They're trying to move in and take over. Meanwhile, you've got a little, a contingent, a grouping, a militia perhaps would be the word, of 30 U.S. settlers who recently arrived on the island. So they go and they're like, we're going to build cabins too. You can't tell us what to do. So everybody's like intermingling, like, no, I claim these 3 hectares, those are mine. You can't have them. And like, it's kind of the Wild West though, right? Because like, who's going to back you up? Your neighbor? Pretty much. Not if they're on the other side though.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, judging by the reports of this time, both sets of islanders actually get along pretty well for the most part. There's next to no problems. Everybody shares resources, blah, blah, blah. The peace was not to last, however, because on June 15th of 1859, a pig belonging to the British accidentally wandered onto the land of Lyman Cutler, an American farmer. When Cutler noticed the pig eating some of his potatoes, he was so incensed, he was in a fit of rage, and he killed the pig.
Oh, shit.
Tell me he ate the pig.
He shot the pig. He didn't kill him. He did kill. He's dead. The pig was dead. He shot the pig. He didn't eat him. I think he actually took him back to the owner because he goes, well, you'll see. He goes and he actually apologizes, which I was surprised. So this was not the first time the pig did this, by the way. The pigs were allowed to roam free upon the island. I might address that later. If I do, now you know twice. So the pig was, of course, owned by Charles Griffin, the Irishman. Yes, a very sensitive man. Griffin owned quite a few pigs and was well known for letting them roam freely across the island, and this was probably not the first time that one of them had trotted its little porky tenderloins onto Cutler's land. I'm so sorry for any vegan and vegetarians that listen. When Griffin found out about the death of his pig, he went to confront Cutler. According to the best reports we have at the time, because how accurate are they? We don't know. The conversation went something as follows. Cutler says, "But he was eating my potatoes," to which Griffin replies, "Rubbish, it's up to you to keep your potatoes out of my pig." So,
What? That's not what, mate.
It's a perfectly valid argument.
I don't know about that one.
If you're drunk, I feel like, yeah. He had to eat the pig though because he was eating the potatoes is why, and then I feel like they all go together. Ham and potatoes.
I would think so. It just sounds like a solid Sunday roast to me. Putting it out there. So to Cutler's credit, he did offer to pay Griffin a sum of $10, which is a lot back in, 1859, I got this. So to compensate for the death of the pig, Griffin refused. He's like, nope, I don't want your $10. Instead, he reported Cutler to the local British authorities who threatened to arrest him. Well, now the Americans are mad because you can't arrest an American, you British upstarts, how dare you? Yeah. Local American citizens then drew up a petition requesting U.S. military protection. So I bet you all thought we were like, oh, history's greatest, idiots, right? That whole theme. We haven't met the idiot yet. Enter. I got a wall.
Weaver.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The petition was received by General William S. Harney, the commander of the Department of Oregon. I'd like to know how he got that job. Harney's anti-British views were well known at the time, and without much of a second thought, he sent a 66-man company of the U.S. 9th Infantry to San Juan Island in July 27th of 1859. Now, you need some origin story here. Harney has a reputation. Here's a list of the shit that this man has pulled. He invaded Mexico without orders, because remember, like, all of where, like, California and down is, including, like, through Colorado and whatnot, is all Mexico. So
Yeah.
while all this is going on, America has gotten caught in a war with Mexico. So he invaded Mexico without orders and, like, lost a bunch of men and supplies, which cost money, which we didn't have a lot of at the time with the American colonies, because they were still in a pretty delicate place. Because what year was it? Yes, 1859. What's coming? The Civil fucking War. So we're in a very delicate
Yeah.
span of history right now.
So glad you reminded me when it was, though, because you're like, he invaded Mexico, and I'm like, from Oregon? That's like a long walk, man.
Yeah, no, he was further down, I think, at the time. He got sent up to Oregon because he was a problem child.
Yeah. Wow,
Yes.
man.
So he invaded Mexico without orders. He had one of his own men arrested for writing the incorrect heading on a report.
Arrested.
What a jerk.
Okay. that's-
Yeah, he's a absolute dickhead.
Mm.
He chased a little bit of animal cruelty coming up in the next 30 seconds, everybody. He chased a dog over 1.5 miles and beat it for digging in his yard.
Damn.
Not to mention, to round off this stellar resume, he had been court-martialed 4 times for his inability to follow orders.
Whoa. Say his last name for me again, please.
Harney,
Okay.
like think Carney, but with an H,
Okay. Got it.
as in Henry, so Harney. William S. Harney.
Okay.
So upon hearing this news, James Douglas, the governor of Vancouver, who had a distinct dislike for the Americans, he decided to send 3 British warships to the area as a show of force, which, I mean, if one dude's gonna show force, of course the other one's gonna posture up to. You ever seen 2 turkeys? It's kind of like that. It's like watching turkeys. Turkeys, incidentally, almost became America's symbol of freedom. Not the
That would
eagle,
have been way
man,
cool.
right?
don't
I
like
mean,
that.
They are a little bit delicious, though, so that would be a problem. Although I've never eaten an eagle, so they could be delicious as well. Anyway,
Something
can't
to think
can't
about.
eat an eagle.
no, you can't. No, I'm not saying
Don't
you
do that.
should. Like, Jesus.
Don't do that, folks. Don't try.
I
to eat an
have no
eagle.
desire to eat the velociraptor of the sky anyway. Like, I'll just stick with the turkey, man.
I'd eat a velociraptor.
Just the leg haunch. It's like a Renaissance fair. You could be a
Oh.
Renaissance painting with, like, the one claw, like...
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Woo! Side questing hard. Back to British Columbia. So during the following month, there was a standoff. Each side is increasing their military presence in the area, with the U.S. 9th Infantry refusing to budge, even though they're massively outnumbered. They're outnumbered by the British. I think the video I was watching said like 4-1, and I was like, oh, get wrecked. So,
You said they
but
had 66 guys that they sent with the U.S. Army?
yeah, the infantry.
And then they sent 3 ships?
3 warships.
Yeah.
British warships. Wasn't Britain's navy like insanely powerful at that time?
Yeah.
Way more than 66 people.
Well,
Yeah, get fucked.
Yeah.
That's like sending stormtroopers to do a job, okay? I'm just gonna fucking say it. Like,
They had sheep.
well, the British had the sheep.
Oh, see, that's how they're outnumbered.
That's how the
It's
numbers are
sheep.
tilted. Do you think each of them had like the Union Jack sheared into their sides? I hope so. So it's not until the arrival of Admiral, sorry, he might be admirable as well, but he's also an admiral, Robert L. Baines, Commander-in-Chief of the British Navy in the Pacific. You gotta be specific. Stop it. The things were to change. I'm so sorry. When he finally, the Pineapple Express, like, plowed through me at this point. Like, I'm like, whoa.
choo
And-
choo.
Choo-choo. Coo-coo-coo-choo. Definitely.
You're a walrus?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one right now. If I looked in the mirror, I probably would look back at one. Anyway, when he finally arrives, James Douglas, okay, governor of Vancouver Island, orders Baines to land his troops on San Juan Island and engage the U.S. 9th Infantry. Baines refuses, famously stating that he would, quote, not involve two great nations in a war over a squabble about a pig. So at least somebody showed up with a little bit of sense, making him perhaps an admirable admiral.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've never been able to say that.
dude, I was sitting there and I was like deer in the headlights. I was like, just do it. Go, go, go. You'll never be ready. Merge. Yeah, that was where I was at. I was like, ah. That's what driving with me is like, too. Anyway. Chicago.
Yeah.
That takes a different kind of driver.
Yeah.
It takes a warrior spirit to brave Chicago traffic. And don't even talk to me about lower Wacker Drive, let alone lower Wacker Drive, which I didn't know there was a lower than low, but here we are.
I didn't know there was
Those
Wacker
that go in,
drives.
it's like the Bermuda fucking Triangle of Chicago. Those that go in don't come back out.
Scary.
I'm not going to Chicago. Now you scared me off.
Good.
That's so in the
But-
Dark Knight when there's that underground, like at the car scene with the Joker.
And it
that's
says,
Wacker Drive.
instead of saying laughter, it says slaughter because he spray paints the S on it. They open it and they bazooka into Batman. Do you
Yeah.
remember that? I do.
Yeah, the Christopher Nolan like under Gotham City roadway scenes that he has, especially the one in the Dark Knight, like that's all Wacker Drive, like lower Wacker Drive and stuff. It's
Here's
like,
the thing: is even the
a tunnel.
GPS can't find you. It's like the catacombs
No.
of PLE. Listen. Here's the deal: you go in, you don't come back out. It's like your GPS is like, I don't know where you are, and then you get stuck on that perpetual loop because if you miss that off ramp, you're there forever. It's like being stuck in like some like purgatory.
crying.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Just so everybody's aware, I don't want to halt all tourism to Chicago. Chicago's a lovely city. Just avoid Wacker Drive, and you're fine. But, Derek, do not let me scare you from visiting Chicago.
I don't know. Okay.
So I will not involve two great nations in a war over a squabble about a pig. So by this time, word has reached both Washington and London about the escalating crisis. Officials on both sides of the Atlantic obviously are shocked that this dispute over a pig has grown into a full-on standoff, including 3 warships, 84 guns, and over 2,600 men.
It's too many.
Yes.
That escalated
Now,
quickly.
it certainly did. All thanks to Harney. So Harney purposely did all of this before his letter could reach Washington. Because he knew it would take time to get there. So he's out doing what he wants to do, not what he's supposed to be doing. So basically, if you discuss it now, possible motivations that have been discussed for Harney's actions are he wanted to expand American territory, sure. He wanted to be president at one point. I know he was in the running to try to become president. I don't know how much American history you know, but if we're on the brink of the American Civil War, it's gonna be Babe Lincoln, Babraham. And I'm sorry, he's not gonna win over Honest Abe, dog. Like,
I mean, he was a vampire hunter.
he was easily one of the cooler presidents we've had. I'm just gonna put that out there. He's one that I actually kind of sort of like. So if that gives you an idea. Also, Harney is from the South. So he's also a Southern slave owner who I mean, this is just a thought, right? These are just theories. He possibly wanted to cause a stir and distract, the South secedes from the Union, right? Cause a little bit more mayhem, a little bit more chaos. But mostly what historians agree upon today is that Harney was an idiot. So,
This fucking guy.
yeah. So, concerned that this was going to escalate even further, both sides, they quickly begin negotiations, right? They're deciding that both the U.S. and British should remain in a presence of no more than 100 men on each island until a formal agreement can be met. The British come up with a camp on the north side of the island, and the Americans began using a base at the south. It's not until 1872 that the International Commission, led by Kaiser Wilhelm I of Germany,
Hey, I know
Andy?
that guy.
decided that the island should fall entirely under American control, and such was the dispute finally laid to rest. I don't know how the fuck he got involved. I didn't look that close again, Was he considered a great mediator? Because maybe they were like, we got to bring in the
Maybe.
big guns, dude. So today, if you visit San Juan Island, it's on the San Juan Island National Historical Park. It's all like protected and whatnot. Both camps are still there to be visited. Interestingly, the only place in the U.S. in a national park where a foreign flag is regularly hoisted over U.S. soil. Both the flag and the flagpole were provided by the British government as a sign of friendship.
Like, here's a flagpole and our flag because we're friends. And I want you to hoist that up there. Hoist that
It's in
bad
their
boy
camp.
up there over our
In
over
their
your soil.
camp. It's fair.
It's cute. I like
out.
that though. So
Yeah.
they're just like across from each other, like looking
Yeah,
at each
well,
other.
yeah. So one's on the north side of the island, the other's on the
Oh,
south.
okay.
So
Nice.
you can go and see them. But yeah,
They still split it up north and south.
you know, so I guess old habits die hard. But there you go. And then, so the true idiot in this is not who you think it would be. It's most definitely William S. Harney, who, if
I
you'd
thought it
like
was the
to,
pig.
yeah, well, that too.
That poor pig.
Well, he shouldn't have been eating them taters, girl.
Same. I like to eat taters as well.
It was the last thing he ever did.
I know. Damn it. Oh, thank you for that, Katie. That was good. It's a lot of fun animal stories today. We had Clarence the giant tortoise and bookended, I should say, at least. Clarence the giant tortoise.
Yeah, and then
that's a
Zombie
pig.
Pope in the middle. So.
Zombie Pope in the middle. You know, gotta mix them up, shake them up a little bit, everybody. Can't all be having happy animal stories across the board. We got to put a dead man on trial. Weekend at Formosa's. Dun, 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 dun. How terrible. My gosh. And to be the sad sack having to hold him and like, I mean,
Right.
did you just pretend that his mouth was
Here's
moving? I don't
hoping
know.
he got gloves. I'm just hoping he got some gloves.
890, what, 6 or whatever?
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot. We were back in the
Late 9th
800s.
centuries. Yeah. Late
I hope they use puppet strings.
I know. It's like, gross.
Strips of
Oh.
lemon.
Yuck. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that we had a pig war out west against the
Neither did
Brits.
I. And I
How
was like,
fun.
oh, I was like, that's going in there. That's happening.
Yeah, Harney. Harney? Did I get that right?
Arnie. Yep.
Harney. Yeah, he fucking stirring shit up. Huh. What about that guy?
It's like the same thing as he didn't listen and went into Mexico and then didn't listen and started a war with the British.
I know.
But he sent
And
the
then,
letter
like,
first.
Right? And then got court-martialed 4 times because he's like, no, I'm not doing what you tell me. But here's what I don't understand is
No.
after all that bullshit, why does he still, like, have command over anyone? Why isn't he
should've-
just an infantryman?
They should have just made him
Court-martialed.
Secretary of State.
Hello.
Oh, wait, what? That
defense.
sounds, or any
Wait.
of them.
I'm telling you.
That's just a
Crazy,
dumb
huh?
thing, you know?
Uh-huh. Yikes. Yeah, court-martialed 4 times, and then they're
That's
like,
so
well, I
ridiculous.
guess we can't control this little silly bean.
What a dickhead.
Harney, you big dumb dork.
He's
God,
just an asshat of the
Yeah.
highest order.
I know. Ooh. So I hope we all learned something today.
Don't
I learned
shoot
a
your
bunch
neighbor's
of
pig.
things.
Don't shoot your neighbor's pig. Don't put a dead man on trial. You know what? Make sure you write kilograms instead of pounds on things. You got to get your systems right. Is there, metric versus imperial versus, I don't know. People are like the right way versus the wrong way.
I only measure in freedom.
Oh, freedom. And we
Freedom
don't want to do what
units
everybody else is
only.
doing.
No,
Yeah.
that
Anyway.
will not stand in this country. Did you learn nothing from my story?
Kilograms, right? Exactly. Yeah, we came full circle with like what happens when you're
We really
walking
did.
around. Derek, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. That was so much fun to have you on. It fucking finally too. I mean, I was on your show ages ago, and I've like been meaning to like get you on at some point. So I'm so glad we get to have our final celebration of season 5 with Derek of History's Greatest Idiots.
Yay.
I'm super happy you had me on. I've been like excited to be on for a while, and
Yeah.
we ought to have you back on again. You too, Katie.
Oh yeah, let's send Katie in there and just really stir things up. It'll be fun. We'll just let her loose.
Oh boy. Make sure you warn your partners at what's coming before that. It's kind of like with the ocean recedes when Godzilla's showing up to Tokyo. You're like, oh, shit, run to high ground.
You're fun.
Godzilla is coming out of the ocean. There's Katie.
I love Godzilla though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We love it. We're so glad that you came and hung out with us. And yeah, folks, this is the end of season 5 with this episode. We'll be back again in 6 weeks, which will be
A date and time.
A date and time. That is July 11th. Question mark. Should be July 11th. There we go. It'll be 6 weeks from when this comes out. And then we'll be back again with season 6. If you miss us in between then and now, please find us on social media. We're on Instagram at High Tales of History or on TikTok at High Tales of History Pod. You can find us over at the Best Buds Club. It's patreon.com/High Tales of History. We're going to be hanging out over there. We've got some movies. Guys, we've got some movies to watch. We've got some half-baked episodes to talk about. Maybe let's get some cooking going. Katie loves cooking stuff. Let's just get on over there and hang out. And Derek, where can the good people of the world find you and what you're doing?
The History Podcast at History's Greatest Idiots on Instagram and YouTube. Mm-hmm. And and then it's me personally is at That Effing Guy, because I'm just that effing guy.
We'll have all your accounts and everything directly linked to the show notes, so that way people can just click on you, find you, track you down, go and follow him. And also, he's an artist too, folks. So if you're watching, you'll be able to see some of his work in the background there. I never know what side of the screen they're gonna show up on, so I'll just point this way. I know, it's always different, like, hey,
come to the gun show. Oh yeah, justifiably in a position I'd rather not be in. Dream always rises to the top. I love Macho Man. You want to talk about Katie's all-time favorite wrestler? Is Macho Man. I love him. There you go. Hey, I know, right? You're gonna miss that. You're gonna miss that for a while. So come find us over where we are. Come find us. We'd love to hang out with you some more. And we'll see you again for the beginning of season 6. In the meantime, folks, get money, get high, give love, and don't let them get you down. You're world champion. You're intercontinental champion. Have a great break.